So, in a world where we have to click on traffic lights to prove that we're not a robot, I'm now very delighted to bring the wonderful David Sharp onto the stage. He's the CEO of International Workplace. He's also got a master's in AI ethics and in society. So it's an interesting one. So welcome, David.
Thank you very much. I wrote an article ahead of last year's Workplace Futures, questioning the conference theme, which was technology in the workplace beyond the information age. And this was the image that IFM used to promote the conference last year. It's the sort of image a lot of us might come up with to represent a futuristic workplace, a shiny white, semicircular control desk in front of two huge curved screens displaying a mass of complex information in a series of brightly lit data visualizations. My very first thought on seeing this last year was a question: where are all the people? It's a workplace after all, so where are all the people doing the work? Why would we choose to visualize the workplace of the future as one where there aren't any people? I realized after a bit, maybe I've been asking the wrong question. Maybe it wasn't where are all the people. Maybe the question I should have been asking was this: who are the people? Who are the people who are imagined in this future workplace? Who are the people this workplace is intended for? And perhaps most important of all, who are the people who aren't there? I referred to this vision last year in my article as a shrine to big data. I saw it as a place of worship, a high altar to technology, rather than a place you would actually go to work. I thought this might be a good place to start today's presentation. So first of all, thank you to David and Elliot for having me back. I think it's been 10 years since I've been here. It's lovely to be back. This year, the conference theme is the relationship between people and technology as a symbiotic one, as we've heard. Personally, I don't agree with that description for reasons I hope to explain. As Simone kindly introduced me, I'm David Sharp, the founder and CEO of International Workplace. We're a leading digital learning provider in the workplace and FM sector. We started exploring the use of machine learning in some of our IOS training some years ago, hence my interest in doing the Masters in AI Ethics and Society. We the People, which is the title here, is instantly recognizable as the start of the preamble of the US Constitution. The power of that Constitution is that it's derived from the will of the people, not from a sovereign under whom the people were to be considered or would be considered its subjects. Above all else, we the people is a bold declaration of human agency. So let's return to this image behind me. There may not be any people in it, but there are hints of people there. Take a few moments, we don't have long, but do have a proper look at that picture. I'm going to encourage you to try and relate it to the work that you do yourselves. As FMs, think about the people you work with, or the people who you work for, maybe your clients, and where they fit into this picture. Think about yourself, how you're feeling now, whether you're happy, unhappy, too warm, too cold, what you're wearing, whether you'd choose to sit on one of those chairs in that picture, and if you did, what sort of work would you be doing and how long would you be sat there for? Where would you put your things? If your shoes were dirty, who'd clean the pristine white floor after you'd gone? If there's another place, somewhere else, like a locker room where all the messy human, people-related stuff happens, what does that look like? And if there is another place, why is it that this shiny image we're seeing here is the one that we've chosen to depict the future of the workplace? Why not the messy one, the one with the people in it instead? Technology sometimes makes it hard to see the people. And I've got with me here a nice Amazon Echo Dot. It's a smart speaker. It's 4.3 centimeters high, 9.9 centimeters wide, weighs 300 grams. Using it, as we know, could hardly be easier. Just say, Alexa, and it can tell you anything from what the weather's like in Alaska to turning the heating on in your house. Like the future workplace, it's frictionless, no hard edges, and slick. This was the starting point, this device, for some research undertaken by two academics, Crawford and Jola, in 2018, to research the anatomy of an AI system. using an Amazon Echo to do so. This is what they came up with. The anatomy of an AI is presented here as an anatomical map of human labour, data, and planetary resources. Now, I know there's far too much information on this slide for you to be able to see anything clearly, but if you Google anatomy of an AI, you can download a PDF of this and look at it in detail for yourself. What this map does demonstrate is how a fleeting interaction, a simple instruction, say, to Alexa, play some music, sets in motion what the authors describe as a huge invisible chain of resource extraction, human labour, and algorithmic processing across networks of mining, logistics, distribution, processing, prediction, and optimization. A chain so complex, it's hard to imagine. The labour involved in the extraction and trade of these minerals and the manufacture and assembly of the product is invisible. You can't see it when you talk to Alexa. Poorly paid people, often doing dangerous work, from data labelling done by click workers at a fraction of a cent per task, to itinerant workers cleaning up toxic waste dumps when minerals have been extracted. Looking for the humans, if you look really closely in this image, you'd see Jeff Bezos at the top of a small pyramid in one part of the map. And at the bottom, you'd see a child working in a mine in Congo who would need to work more than 700,000 years non-stop to earn as much as Bezos would earn in a single day. But this map doesn't just locate people, it also locates the environmental impact as well. Starting on the left with raw materials required to make the Amazon Echo, and on the right, the waste that's left at the end of its life. In between, the process of mining clay for rare minerals leaves 98.8% of the earth that's been mined discarded and dumped back into the landscape, creating new pollutants like ammonium. To refine a ton of one particular rare earth mineral produces 750,000 litres of acidic water and 1 tonne of radioactive residue. And there isn't time to expand on the environmental impact here, but these insights should make us think twice in the face of claims that AI will blindly help us solve the problem of climate change. It's extremely difficult to understand how much electricity AI consumes, though one author estimates that by 2027, it will be equivalent to the annual energy demand of the Netherlands, 0.5% of all global electricity consumption. In addition to the depletion of rare earth minerals, water resources are of a particular concern where AI is concerned. A 2023 study found that training OpenAI's GPT-3 model consumes 700,000 litres of water alone. And in the same year, Fortune magazine reported that AI tools fueled a 34% spike in the water consumption of Microsoft. And if all those things, those numbers sound like they're about big corporations that are a long way away, I'll give you the example of Thames Water in the UK, who faced criticism in the summer of 2022 that meant water for drinking was being diverted to cool down data centres instead. As you can imagine from the, as you can see from the unimaginable scale of an Amazon Echo, it's easy to see how the human gets lost when we're talking about technology. And another example I want to look at is this one on screen now, which is the use of AI in recruitment. What you see here is a screen taken from a research exercise undertaken by a Bavarian TV company examining an AI-driven recruitment platform. Now, according to the developers, the software analyzes the applicant's tone of voice, language, gestures, facial expressions in order to create a behavioral personality profile. It claims to make the application process, and I quote, faster, but also more objective and fair, unquote. All AI recruitment platforms will have their own proprietary algorithms. Not all of them use video analysis, but all work on the principle of being able to profile an ideal candidate based on the analysis of data. This one, claiming to have an accuracy level of 90%, uses what's known as the OCEAN model, O-C-E-A-N, to assess personality traits on 5 dimensions of personality: openness, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism. Stephanie, in this image, scored well until she repeated the interview wearing glasses, which saw a reduction in nearly 10 points for conscientiousness. Interviewing again, this time without glasses, but wearing a headscarf, she was perceived to be much less neurotic, much more hireable, scoring 20 more points than she did originally. And there are a couple of other examples too. Another candidate, first of all including a picture in the background and then a bookcase, improved his scores on both occasions. And in another case, a candidate scored worse in all 5 traits when the background was darkened artificially. As I said, not all AI hiring tools use video analysis, but the use of AI for keyword analysis or contextual analysis of publicly available content, such as applicants' social media posts, can be equally tenuous. Now, I don't have time again to go into detail here today, but I wanted to just touch on emotional recognition technology as well. And here's a good example of how an image or potentially video has been converted, where data has been extracted to quantify someone's supposed emotional behavior to produce a measurable metric. You don't necessarily need still or video images to try and assess emotional recognition at scale. Applications that claim to be, any apps, technology that claims to be able to readily recommend who you should promote, or that claims to be able to predict who's thinking of leaving your organization based on an algorithmic assessment of their behavior, should equally be treated with caution. As humans, we're acutely conscious that we're biased. We, the people, are fallible. We're fallible witnesses with unreliable memories. We're hardwired to be judgmental and opinionated. But the mistake we make too often is to believe that the technologies we create are not. Data is not neutral. It's not like oil, which is a finite natural resource. There's no such thing as raw data. Every piece of data bears the imprint of a human. Knowingly or otherwise, every thought process that went into choosing which data sources to use, which to ignore, how data should be labeled, how data should be categorized, and every algorithm used to process it, none of these are objective or in some way separate or other from us. All of them are biased, partial, subjective, and human. Now, as we know from Alexa, AI is amazing at saying, let me do that for you. And as people, we naturally want our lives to be easy. The removal of friction can be seductive, particularly if that then allows us to operate at scale. But if we're to retain our human agency, we should not allow ourselves to be so readily seduced. Has the friction really been reduced or removed? Or, like that room we looked at first, like the messy room that's invisible next to the shiny workplace, has it just been hidden from sight? Maybe hidden from sight where it might be impacting people that we can't see or we didn't even know existed. Instead, in a search for the people, I argue we should celebrate friction as a form of resistance, a positive characteristic of human progress. Why has speed become the metric of choice? How can you navigate human existence if there is no resistance to push against to help you change direction? Would it sound odd to you if you heard someone on this stage maybe say today that they were developing an app designed to increase friction? Why do we naturally think that would be a bad thing? So what can we do to recover human agency? Well, we can start by challenging words and images that we use. Marvin Minsky, the man that created or credited with creating the term artificial intelligence, referred to AI as a suitcase term, suitcase words, something that could be used to mean whatever anybody really wanted it to. That's one of the reasons people find themselves so bamboozled by it. It's kind of meaningless as a term. In March 2022, the Centre on Privacy and Technology in Georgetown Law decided to stop using the terms artificial intelligence, AI and machine learning completely to make people aware and to mitigate harms of digital technologies in the lives of individuals and communities. They reference findings that showed people, first of all, that people didn't seem to know what AI was, and second, ironically, they thought it was smarter than they were. It isn't, as long as we're not intimidated by it. In describing AI, images like the ones on the left that you can see here often depict, you'll know this, a Terminator with red eyes, a silver or white humanoid robot in the thoughtful pose there with its chin on its hand, or a play on Michelangelo's famous painting, The Creation of Adam, with God reaching out to touch Adam's hand, except in this case, one hand belongs to a human, the other to an android. What does that suggest about the power that we're ceding to AI? If we want to assert human agency in the technology we create, these two images on the right are much more meaningful and appropriate. Here you see two women collaborating on the task of labeling data. And the second image depicts cloud computing by using silicon monocrystal, a reminder that AI consumes a finite supply of Earth's natural mineral resources. These two examples are taken from a website called Better Images of AI, which provides a rich library on an open license basis. So I'd imagine time's whizzing really quickly. I've lost complete track. But before I finish, I want to show you a brief film which shows us another human.
Another pivotal forecast is due by Met Office at 3:40 on Saturday the 18th. They are warning of gales in all areas except for Southwest. The general synopsis at 1800, ice flows 960, drifting slowly east and filling. Low 250 miles northeast of the Faroes 950 by 1800 Sunday. Highs of Florida 1033, slow moving with little shade. The area forecast for the next 24 hours, Viking north and south exterior 40.
Is it Chinese? Is it Japanese? James thinks it's Chinese.
This little vase is Japanese, and there are several things that we look at. If we first look at the little band that encircles the neck, I've never heard they say 150 pounds, 150. Any advance in 50, any advance in 50, 80, 90 pounds, any advance in 90 pounds.
29% swing.
We are seeing the entire shape of British politics changing before our eyes.
Look at that. It is right up. It's almost breaking our swingometer.
Horrifying column that for the Lib Dems, down 27%.
Viking, northwest 5 or 6, wintry showers, good, occasionally poor. North at Sierra, south at Sierra, east 40s, variable 4, becoming southeasterly 5 or 6, west 40s, Cromarty, Forth, Tyne, west Dollar.
Let's see, no way. Is it right? How many? So, capture all of it, 254. No, I think you probably will. I mean, coming up. I tell you what, you've got several years of okay. I can hardly recommend the pointless thing of making that stacks the odds against me. Yeah, I'm thinking Brown's house.
Winter, the sharks are focusing all their attention on the offshore islands, full of young seals. By watching how the sharks hunt here, Alison has learned what time of day an attack is most likely.
Here is the General Synopsis at 0700 GMT. Cows in Sierra Sun will be selling sorry, that should be low in Sierra Sun. And now the area reports. Viking, north of Sierra, south of Sierra, rain at times, good. Westerly becoming cyclonic, good. Humber, Thames, Bedford, Leyland Down, Dover, Seoul, Haight, rain at times, good.
Okay. I cut the video here to save time. Our hero defeats the walking stick app and the bed as well. I'm sure you'll be pleased to know. I hope you'll agree. What's needed here is obviously not a smarter spoon or more data. It's not the spoon or the technology that's at fault here. It's the framing of a social issue as a technical problem that can be adequately dealt with by a technical solution alone.
I didn't know it was going to beep.
Right. What can we do? While I may sound critical of new technologies, I am an advocate of their responsible design and deployment. While the smart spoon in that clip is a fictitious one, an AI-powered spoon really has been developed for people with Parkinson's that helps them stabilize the tremors in their hands, letting them feed themselves without assistance. Well designed, technology and AI can surely play a beneficial part in improving people's lives. At International Workplace, we won some Innovate UK funding to develop a more responsible model for processing learner data using encryption, giving our own FM clients more control and security and their employees more privacy. And that solution also lets our clients resell our courses to their own customers, creating new revenue streams and helping them manage their customers' own risk. We're delighted to be piloting this data model with our value partner Atlas FM, and I know they share our approach to ethical innovation and see the potential in designing the service around a human rather than the other way around. If you're interested in that initiative, I'd be very keen to talk more with you about a pilot. In closing, having been bleeped, I come back to the conference theme. We, the people, is not a symbiotic relationship with technology, where the humans are one organism and technology is another, and each is reliant on each other to get on. That is the definition of symbiosis. Rather, I would argue that socio-technical systems, technology in plain English, is both socially constructed and also society shaping. We humans are both the creator of technology and the recipient as it impacts on us. In both cases, we, the people, should declare our agency. We should be responsible in exercising that agency, and we should not willingly give that agency up. Thank you.